Hi, my name's Troy, or T-Roy, as I call myself on this YouTube channel, and I talk about overcoming social anxiety, becoming confident, becoming better in social situations, more comfortable in social situations, being less of a shy person, and I also talk about dating and relationships and how to go from somebody who isn't really super savvy in that area to somebody who is at least more savvy than you were in that area. So enjoy this video. So what nobody tells you about social anxiety is to face it. So I just saw a statistic recently. Now, I'm a millennial, but I'm at like the tail end of millennial, almost Gen Z. I'm 30 right now. So Gen Z apparently has the highest rates of depression, and they also have, the highest rates of mental illness, depression, a lot of stuff. But they also have, they were the generation that grew up with technology the most, like when technology was advanced and when you had access to basically anything. You could Google anything, you could YouTube anything, you could search for anything online, and you got this unlimited source of information. When I was growing up, high-speed internet was becoming a thing, so I kind of got that, but really when I got into my late teens and 20s is when you really could have access to unlimited information. But at that time I was in college. I didn't really have time to just sit around and search for stuff all day. I had to study, I had to work, I had to do things. So when I was about 22, if you don't know my story, check out some of my other videos on this YouTube channel. I got sick of being shy, I got sick of having social anxiety, and I started approaching people on my college campus. Why? Because here's the thing they don't tell you about social anxiety. They don't tell you to face it. What they do tell you is to cope. If you go and see a professional about it, a lot of times the professional, maybe not at first, but eventually they'll recommend drugs, medicine, because a lot of people don't want to do what doctors tell them to overcome social anxiety, like get out more, stop going on social media so much, or like, do breathing techniques, whatever. A lot of people don't want to do those. And even if they do those things, sometimes it just doesn't work. So a lot of times they'll just recommend drugs to make you feel the anxiety less. They'll tell you to do like breathing exercises or count back from 10, or I don't know, like go exercise, distract yourself basically from the anxiety so you never feel it. But what I discovered was that when I did things that made me feel the anxiety, I became extremely aware of it, and the anxiety didn't become scary anymore. And I know a lot of people who, honestly, it's the victim crew who like to say, sorry, I don't want to be negative or condescending in this video, but there's a lot of people who are very negative who, when they say they have social anxiety, they're like, you don't understand, okay? If I were to go outside and if I were to start approaching people or talking to people or putting myself in more social situations, I would just get so anxious and nothing else would happen. And I don't think these people understand that me or other people like me who have put themselves in social situations, and instead of focusing on, thoughts of, oh my gosh, the anxiety is just there. I just have social anxiety and I'm gonna have it forever, or like caring about what other people think. Instead, if you actually shift the focus to yourself and what you're feeling, you can just feel what you're feeling. And you really, really have to let go of what other people are thinking of you. Because if you can just sit there, like imagine joining a public speaking class. I actually did this. I joined a public speaking class and I went up there and I was shaking and my face turned white. And I stumbled my way through it, but it was a great experience because I could stand up there. And I joined a class at a place where I didn't know anybody. They weren't my like classmates growing up. They weren't my college friends. They weren't my family members. They weren't my friends. They weren't people that I knew. They weren't acquaintances. They were just people that were interested in public speaking. And I went to that class and I got up there and I stood in front of them and I was super nervous, and I just embodied that nervousness and I felt it for what it was. I made the nervousness worse. And the more that I made that nervousness worse, the more random people that I said hi to, made eye contact with, approached and gave them a compliment, the more parties I went to and just, accepted the awkwardness and the discomfort that I was feeling, the more that I did that stuff, the more I felt the anxiety. The more the anxiety came up, which is probably what they would tell you not to do, right? Professionals are like, oh, well, you want to get rid of your anxiety? Okay, we have a solution for that. They won't tell you do things that actually bring up the anxiety. They'll tell you like, okay, if you're in a social situation and you start feeling anxious, just breathe. Or, I could give you this medicine that just makes you feel it a little bit less. And then it's probably the placebo effect working for you. But, anyway, what they don't tell you and what really works is changing your mindset from how do I escape this anxiety when I'm in social situations or any situation that brings it up, to let me bring this anxiety up as much as I possibly can. Because if you have that mentality, the anxiety doesn't have power over you. It doesn't have power over your actions, and it affects you less. And you keep doing it over and over again. It's like punching it in the face and just kicking it out. It's like, and you can still feel it. Like every once in a while, I'll still kind of get like paranoid thoughts in social situations. Like if I get self-conscious, but it's more along the lines of what I imagine like just a normal healthy person would experience. Like sometimes we get self-conscious, sometimes we feel anxiety, but we don't let it affect our actions. And you can kind of just sit there, feel it, and still interact with people anyways. So, yeah, and I know some people say they have it so bad that they can't go outside. I disagree. If you can't go outside, go to your front door. Once you're comfortable going to your front door, take a step outside. Make eye contact with your neighbor for half a second. I imagine not a lot of people are like that, but if you just get general anxiety, like you're going to social events like parties and stuff, and you have social anxiety and you feel really anxious and self-conscious, put yourself in more of those environments. It brings it up. And I promise you, if you have that mentality, if you make that mental shift of like, oh, this is actually good for me because I'm facing it, I'm becoming aware of it, I want it to come up, I want to feel this anxiety as much as I can, it takes its power away. Oh, and one more thing about the coping and distracting. If you stop going on social media so much, like if you stop pulling out your phone in public, and if you stop distracting yourself so much, you can face those things even more. That's why I brought up at the beginning the whole Gen Z thing, having more depression. Like kind of the younger you are, the more you grew up with technology, the more you're using that stuff to actually cope rather than feeling what you could normally feel and just process if you leave space for it. So when you clear social media and distraction, any distraction out of your life and out of your mind, everything becomes clear and you experience less anxiety, because at first the anxiety will get worse, but then you look at it and you feel it, and then you look at your hands and you realize I'm still here, I'm fine, this doesn't have any power over me anymore. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Okay, this is what nobody tells you about social anxiety. Actually, I'll start with what they do tell you. So if you go see somebody about social anxiety, like a professional, they'll tell you I lost it.